If you want something you've never had, you're probably gonna have to do things you've never done before. Hey, everyone. Becky Lander here. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so thrilled you're here. Over here at our house, we are officially back to school. It's hard to believe that we're back this early in August, but with back to school also allows us to have a little bit more routine, a little bit more schedule in our life, and that's not such a bad thing. So we have definitely thoroughly enjoyed summer and are in that transition season, kind of back to business, back to getting organized. And I thought this was the perfect timing to drop a podcast on what successful direct sellers are doing here in 2025. We've brought in a lot of incredible guests throughout the summer, many of which are part of our Modern Direct Seller Academy VIP program. Shout out to all of you that popped onto the podcast. It has been so fun to hear your stories and what you're working on in your business and those big pivotal moments that really made a difference. So as we're shifting into the fall season, I've had a lot of inquiries and interest in Academy VIP, and I am going to open up a couple of slots. So as I share today's podcast, if you are thinking about leveling up in your business, developing your personal brand, leaning into digital marketing, having your own website, having Oh My Hi at your fingertips for email marketing, CRM, that is all included in the Academy VIP experience. And I call it an experience because we love on you so much and support you through one-on-one strategy, coaching, tech support, done for you design. It's literally all the things you need to elevate your business. So if you're a teensy bit curious about it, shoot me a message over on Instagram at Modern Direct Seller, or you can even text me. That works too, over at 619-760-2300. Just say, hey, I'm interested in VIP. Tell me a little bit more. And I'd love to put you on the early bird list because we're not opening it to the public for another week or two, but I'd love to talk to you first as one of my incredible podcast listeners. Again, thank you so much for being here. It's always so lovely to have so many great people just showing up, listening to the podcast. I love hearing from you. So if you have a major takeaway from today or something you're implementing in your business, send me a message. I would love to hear what you've learned. So let's talk about 2025. I can't believe we are rolling into the fall season. And if you're hanging out with us here today, you're probably thinking, what is working here in 2025? I feel like we've had a lot of ups and downs and companies closing, companies starting, shifts, pivots in our business. And this is definitely the time to kind of lean into what's working. They're long gone are the days of, hey, I'm going to go back to that strategy that worked for me 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Because here's the thing, the landscape has changed. Direct sales has changed incredibly so much over even the last year. So if I was to record this podcast 6 months ago, I probably would have shared something slightly different than what you're going to hear from me today here on this episode. So as we're thinking about those shifts, a lot of it has to do with how our customers are choosing to buy and shop. And many would say that there's uncertainty in the economy or people are kind of holding back on spending. I'm still seeing that people are investing in their business. They are still making purchases. They are still shopping as we approach the holiday season. They still are supporting direct sellers that are out there making a living, sharing their products with them. So while, yeah, maybe it's been a little rocky, a little bit crazy, all the things that have been happening this year, I still am a firm believer that this industry works and people are out there ready to purchase from you. So today we're pulling back the curtain a little and I'm sharing what successful direct sellers are doing right here and now in their business. I've actually pulled together some stories from our Academy VIPers. I always feel like I have the best vantage point in the sense that I get to talk to people one-on-one. They shoot me messages and celebrate their successes with me, but I don't always get a chance to, shout it for the rooftops. So that's what we're going to do today is talk about what's working, and share some stories of how they are doing it. So my challenge for you is to borrow these ideas, right? This is proof that these strategies are working today for your direct sales business. So let's not mess around. Let's take what's working, put your own spin on it, and go ahead and take that to your customers, your leads, your potential teammates, and create something amazing this fall season. So first off, I really want to dive into mindset and consistency. The people that are doing the best in this industry right now have a mindset that they've blocked off all the chatter, right? They are not worried what she's doing or he's doing or how they're doing or how fast they're growing. They're laser focused on their strategy, their plan, and they're also doing it their own way. And I think this one's really important, that things have, shifted and look different in this industry. So it's not that we're going to follow that cookie cutter checklist and do everything that is on. Remember those onboarding checklists when you were getting started? It was like step 1, step 2, step 3. It's looking different for everyone. And that doesn't mean you need to recreate the wheel, but it does mean that your journey in this business may look very different than the person next to you. What your goals are, what your expectations are going to probably be very different than the person on the other side of the room. And that's okay. And I think forging your own path forward and doing things your own way is a big piece of it. And in some cases, that's also recognizing that maybe the training that your company has provided is outdated. Maybe it's no longer serving you and your customers, and your willingness to, again, step out of your comfort zone, do things a little different, be bold, take action, and take what you want from that, but also be willing to do your own thing and put those blinders on and not worry about what anyone else around you is doing. So I think that's the first thing, is really around mindset. The other thing, and as I wrote this list of people that I want to highlight today and the stories that they have to share, a lot of them are focused on the fundamentals of this business, right? So I'm not saying we go back and do things old school, how we always did it, but there's a couple of core components. We talk about them as our daily ABCs inside the Academy and Academy VIP. So it's active selling, building relationships, and creating content. If you can do those 3 things every day, your business is going to grow. And we have people inside the Academy that have streaks of hundreds of days that they have been consistently showing up and working their business. So I wanted to share an example of someone that is really, really doing this in a big way. And, a lot of us have talked about TikTok, right? We had Kenya Kelly here on the podcast a few episodes ago talking about TikTok strategies. Over the summer, I spent a lot of time on stages talking about the reach that you have on Facebook versus Instagram versus TikTok. And if you are a math person, you're going to look at that reach and say, if I can have a 1 to 3% reach over on Facebook, right? So 1, 2, or 3 out of 100 followers on your business page are going to get a chance to see your content. That's not feeling too good. But over on TikTok, we're seeing a reach of 50 to 150%. That means if you have 100 followers, 50 of them are probably going to see what you're sharing, up to 150. So when we've talked a little bit about social and stepping out of your comfort zone, I know for many of you listening, TikTok is maybe not your jam. Maybe you've never tried it. Maybe you've been a little bit leery of, is this the right place for me to hang out? But I gotta say that the people that are doing it are seeing some massive results. And I share this on stage too, but if you want something you've never had, you're probably gonna have to do things you've never done before. And that might be TikTok. Maybe there's other sales strategies I'll talk about today that work for you, but it might be TikTok. So shout out to Amary over at jBloom. She has been consistent on TikTok for a while now. Like, she's got hundreds of TikToks that have been posted. And guess what? The first one, it didn't go viral. The second one didn't go viral. The third one didn't go viral. It was hundreds of posts later. One just struck a chord. It landed. It had a great hook. It had a great call to action. And that created a flurry of activity in her business. Now, 6 months ago when she was hanging out on TikTok doing her thing, did she see this coming? I mean, we all hope that this is coming, that you're going to have that reach, you're going to have those kinds of results, but you're also not banking on it. You're still just showing up consistent each and every day in your business. Well, let me share some results that she has gotten. Back in July, she added 30 jBloom designers to her team. And many of those came through TikTok. So what she had going on over on TikTok was a TikTok or a couple that had a really broad reach. From that TikTok, she sent people to a landing page over on Oh My High, conveniently. And once they filled out that form to learn more about getting started with permanent jewelry, they provided their name, their email, their phone number. So she got those systems working for her, right? And then once those systems were working, she reached out personally with a text using Project Broadcast. She sent an automated email sequence using Oh My High to nurture those leads. And she's adding 30 to her business during the month of July. So if you're sitting here thinking, I don't know anyone that's having a ton of success with growing their team, I do. I'm seeing that all the time. So I just love that case study, that example of showing up consistently day in, day out. And a lot of these leads, I think at this point, she has 300 plus people that are interested in the business opportunity that have filled out the form. She's going to keep nurturing those leads and she's going to be seeing results for months and months and months later. So it's not just a one-time like, woo, that was a crazy month. They're going to continue to roll in as she continues to feed and nurture those relationships. So consistency always wins. It always wins. So doing those daily ABCs, focusing on active selling, asking for a sale, building relationships, and being intentional about building up that sales pipeline and creating that content wherever you decide to do it, but certain places have a little bit more reach than others, is going to pay off in a huge way in your business. Okay, the next one I want to share is Natasha. Natasha is with Jordan Essentials. She is one of our Academy VIPers. She's incredible. And she created a YouTube video. She's also been very consistently showing up on YouTube on the regular. And she created a video about an index card system. And this video blew up. Like, fun fact, she sent me a message and was like, oh my gosh, I have tens of thousands of views on this video. But guess what Natasha did? Not only did she have a YouTube video really take off and reach, she had a system set up to nurture those leads. So once they saw the video, she had a free printable for them to download so they could implement this system in their own home. They headed over to her Oh My High site. They went ahead and put their name and email in, and they received this printable download. So at this point, Natasha's got 1,400 new leads on her email list, as well as a ton of new YouTube subscribers. And she's rolling into fall season, launching the new Jordan Essentials catalog, letting all of these new followers know what her business has to offer. So I just love that example, again, of tying things back to a lead form, being intentional about leveraging digital marketing in our business and not just relying on social, right? I think oftentimes we're like, oh, somebody comments, we'll just send them a message on social. That works until you become Amary or Natasha and you have tons of people flooding you, and it no longer becomes sustainable to have one-on-one conversations with everyone. You really have to lean into those systems, and lucky for both of them, they have systems that are set up and working for them. So I just love that point that successful direct sellers today are not waiting for the social media algorithm to change. They are taking things into their own hands. They're actively capturing those leads and nurturing those leads. Here's the other thing. I love that many direct sellers today are, again, not completely reliant on social media to make those connections, but they're also seeing the value of building their own email list or their own text list. A lot are using both in tandem, and you can definitely do that. But when we're thinking about what that looks like, rather than posting a weekly recipe to your Facebook group, they're saying, hey, you want my weekly recipe? Text me the word recipe, and I will then send you a text every week with the recipes you're looking for. And you can choose your own adventure, make this your own based on what you have going on in your business. I think Susan Larimer is another great example that she has a weekly skincare tip that's being dripped out in a campaign over text to stay in front and nurture these leads, again, off of social media. So we're not just collecting contacts, we are connecting with those contacts. We're staying in front of them. We're sharing with them what's new from our company, what products we love. And you can do that through welcome emails. You can do that through drip campaigns. You can do that by offering a special every week or month. I've seen Shalisa over at jBloom also. She's got some super cool stuff happening over there where she'll pick a couple of pieces to feature each week and offer a cart link and a discount code to highlight those pieces, but there's urgency. It's a 24-hour, hey, if you want this, come on and come get it, right? So another example that I am seeing among direct sellers that are finding success here in 2025 is they're layering different income producing activity on top of their direct sales business. So let me talk this one through a little bit. We recently did a challenge for our Oh My High community to build and create your own digital product. And there were people that jumped right in. So shout out to Kathy over at Tastily Simple. She was like, I'm in, let's do it. Back to school recipes. She created the form. She took people's payment. She's making sales. So yes, she's selling the product included in those recipes, but she's also making a little extra. And there's lots of different digital products you can create to do this, but being able to have a product that complements your business and allows you to fuel some additional sales through your direct sales channel is going to pay off in the big time. The money you receive from that digital product is like icing on the cake. You don't have to give away a portion of that commission. That is going to help you grow your bottom line. And if that digital offer really complements what you have going on in your direct sales business, it's going to bring in future customers and product sales as well. So another great example of this is Diana with Senegence. She wrote a book this summer. Can you guys believe that? She wrote a book about how to age well and how to live a healthy lifestyle. So she wrote the book, she's selling it on her website, and guess what? Is it gonna mention using Senegence products? Yes, it is. People are gonna read that book, feel inspired, and want to know all the things that she's using to stay young, right? How cool is that? So just another example of ways that you can nurture leads, you can grow your income, and you're doing that with text, email marketing, totally off of social. Okay. A couple other examples that I want to dive into. All right, another example of this is connecting with people on different platforms. So we talked a little bit about TikTok. Maybe TikTok's not your jam. We've talked a little bit about YouTube. Maybe you're not hanging out on YouTube. Maybe not yet. Maybe you'll get there, right? But there's other platforms that allow you to get your brand out there. So shout out to Paige. Paige is over with Faster Way and New Skin, and she has put together a private podcast. So she's able to chat directly with people interested in what she has to offer as a way to grow her brand and bring in new leads. I love that Amber at Scentsy, she was sharing with me that she's going to start using StreamYard so she can create one video and share that video out across multiple platforms. It can go to Facebook, it can go to YouTube, it can go to other places all at the same time. And she can create that one video that's going to be distributed far and wide. So one real big trend that I'm seeing with those that are really most successful right now is that they're leaning into systems, but not only are they leaning into systems, they're using those systems to amplify their voice, right? It's not enough just to show up on one social media platform. It's thinking, hey, where are my people? How do I go to them, make sure that they're seeing what I have to share, or at least having a chance to open it or click on it or view it, not leaving it to the algorithm. But they're also being really intentional about their time. And so people are hearing them in different places, but they're not having to go create separate content here, right? They're able to share it in a lot of different places. So I'm loving that so much. And that goes back to our party plan friends. I know some of you have really grown up on the Facebook party. And I think we all know that we've, kissed goodbye to the Facebook party. It's just not the same as it used to be. We're not seeing the same results. We're not getting the visibility, but we know that group selling works. So if you know group selling works for your audience, how do we reach them in a new and different way? So we're throwing back actually to the scroll and shops that I talked about a lot about a year ago, but many people are leaning into those templates, but coupling the scroll and shop with maybe a text campaign. So that's kind of a match made in heaven there. Hey, check out my scroll and shop, whether you're hosting that on Canva, on Project Broadcast, on Oh My Hi, you have options of where that scroll and shop lives. But people are getting that link and they're learning about your products. And it's another way to capture leads, connect with people, nurture relationships, have one-on-one conversations, but not be reliant on the algorithm and really meet them where they're at. And I think that that's a big trend, is that we know that not everyone wants to be online on Thursday at 6 o'clock for that Facebook party. Some people might, but a lot of people got other things happening in their life. So how do we meet them where they're at and give them the information they're looking for, but at their own pace, on their own time, right? We got to think about how people like to shop these days and then give them the tools to make it possible. So in all of these examples, and I feel like I've left out maybe like 20 or 30 other ones, my head's like, oh, I hope they don't feel left out when I drop this episode, because there's so many incredible examples of what you all are doing to pivot, to reinvent your brand, to show up on different platforms, to reach customers in a different way, to grow your team. All of that is happening in so many different little pockets in the direct selling world right now. And I'm sure I only hear about a small fraction of them. So as we wrap up, the common theme that I'm seeing across each and every one of these examples and those that are being really successful in direct sales today is that they have built their personal brand. They're showing up with their face on the screen, even when it feels scary, even when it feels uncomfortable. They're meeting their customers where they're at. They may be out there doing in-person events, or they may be 100% leaning into digital marketing, connecting with customers over email and text to really build their brand. We've been talking about personal branding for years now, and it goes beyond the logo. It goes really back to what you stand for, what you believe in, what you want to be known for, and then infusing that personal brand into your own website, into your social channels, into your everyday interactions. You want to be known as the go-to person for fill in the blank, right? So really leaning into that personal branding, whether it's writing a book, whether it's speaking at conferences, whether it's launching a podcast, whether it's going viral on TikTok or YouTube, people want to know you. And I think we're officially ready to step outside of our comfort zone and show up on camera and show up in places we haven't been before. Because in order for you to pivot and see that success this fall season, you're going to have to toss some of those old strategies out the window and really think about how you can connect and nurture leads in this new way of doing business. So I hope today's episode brought to life for you a little bit of what's working right here, right now in the direct selling world in fall 2025. I got to say, I am impressed on the daily. These are just a couple of stories that came to mind for me today, but in my coaching calls with our Academy VIPers or our office hours inside the Academy, it is so fun and exciting to hear from people what they're doing, what's working for them, where they're finding success in their business. So if you have any interest at all in getting personal coaching, strategy, a personal brand developed, an Oh My Hi website, email marketing, CRM set up for you, that is all packed into Academy VIP. We are increasing prices for new users at the end of this month. So if you're thinking about Academy VIP and you're like, it's 2026, the price is going to be a bit higher then. So if you wanted to sneak in and lock in the lower prices, this would be the time to do it. Shoot me a message and just say, I need to know about VIP. And we will grab a phone call. We'll have a little voice message conversation and we'll make sure it is the right fit for you in this season of your business. So With that said, I am so excited to share some of these stories with you. We got some great episodes brewing for the podcast as we rock out the fall season. So I will see you back here next week for another episode of the Modern Direct Seller podcast. Until then, let's get out there and go make it a great day. Thanks for being here. This episode is sponsored by CinchShare. CinchShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CinchShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CinchShare.